Hey, Curt Isakson here with County Fire Tactics, firefighter Ike today. Going to talk about theory versus reality, theory versus experience. And if you didn't notice, this is kind of like starting to go a little bit of gray. I'm an everyday shaving kind of guy, but I'm just adjusting to this whole gray hair thing. So I got Scott giving me advice on this whole thing to make sure the video's right. So maybe he's telling me to do this. Maybe not. Scott will have to try that some other time. I'm not very tech savvy. Scott's been putting out some pretty awesome daily, training nuggets, one-page things. And, by the way, we're just putting those out to inspire you, motivate you, kitchen table talk, dive deeper. I'm going to tell you something. Take my name off of it. Take one of my, longtime friends, mentors, Ray McCormick, off of there. Obviously, I'm a huge supporter of firefightersurvey.com. I'm a supporter of the search culture. I'm a supporter of anything that makes the fire service better. I'm going to tell you, unequivocally, absolutely positive, I am supporting anybody and everybody that just wants to make the fire service better. I was raised not to be sensitive or insecure of others. I've never been jealous of other people. I haven't. My mom and dad just raised me to be appreciative for what I had, because they both grew up in very poor neighborhoods. I mean, my parents grew up, they were kids, they were poor. So that's, like, for me, I'm not jealous. And then I consciously make sure that I'm not jealous of people. But I tell you, man, it is amazing how people are in competition with other people in the fire service. I'm just talking about the fire service. Like, worried about who gets more likes and, who's on a pedestal. Who gives a shit about all that? What we all need to be caring about is, are we reducing line of duty deaths? Are we reducing our exposure to long-term health problems, cancer, things like that, like Chief Lead's green bag? I totally support cleaning our gear, bunker gear, doing all that stuff. But a lot of you, to be honest with you, and I read that article yesterday, and I was, I was flattered. I think Bill Carey's smarter than I'll ever be. And if you're not familiar with him, he goes way back in the fire service. Very, very smart guy that started in the fire service, a very intelligent editor, part of Fire Rescue, Penwell Publications, and so on and so forth. So I wasn't offended at all by it, but I was moved and motivated, and he's actually got me scared to death, because this has come up before. A chief from Chicago, very, very awesome chief, was a chief of training years ago as part of UL and FSRI. Him and I had a huge conversation years ago about it's worth the risk, and if some young firefighter took it out of context and died, and it kept me up for a couple of weeks. I was offended by him at first, but I do get worried about somebody going and doing something stupid because they read some one-page post that I talked about. And I'll tell you, some of you exposed your incompetence, your ignorance, your arrogance. Not even arrogance, ignorance. Just like you're smart. Some of you are smarter than me about the radio thing. I shouldn't use the four-letter word. My dad didn't like it. It's fucking idiotic. If you're the first arriving chief of even a single-story private dwelling fire to have one radio, you're going to be a brand new radio, brand new battery, fully charged. The fucking radio fails, and you're standing in the front yard because that's where you need to be. You don't have another radio. But if you have a radio in this pocket, you just turn it on. You don't even have to use the radio. It's called redundancy. It's called eliminating complacency. Just because you hadn't experienced it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And if I'm commanding even a single-family dwelling fire and I'm on this channel, I don't want it on scan. You do not want a radio on scan that is commanding an incident where people are operating inside of a burning building, IDLH. You want it on the tactical channel where it's not scanning. So what happens when somebody's accidentally on the dispatch channel on a second alarm or the main channel? Or God forbid, because I fought for this for years and finally got it about 20 years ago, all of our radios, you turn it all the way, either way it goes to main dispatch, 1 or 16. So if I'm on TAC 3 working a working house fire somebody gets fucking jammed up and they turn their radio either way, all the way, because they couldn't feel it in their big-ass fire glove. We've yet to design a radio that works on a Fireground. I'm going to hear it because this portable's on main. When they say Mayday, Mayday, fuck you when you say, well, the dispatch should do this, that, and the other. Well, I'm not relying on dispatch. I'm relying on my fact that I'm the Fireground commander. I'm a chief officer getting paid to be a chief. And I hear it and I'm like, shit, there's no delay. I don't need dispatch to call me and say, all units stand by and go beep, 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 beep. When they're in a bad situation, I knew it immediately because I'm talking to, Squad 1's completed the search. And on this other radio while I'm talking, I hear Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. I'm like, oh shit, command all companies on the Fireground, Mayday's being transmitted on a dispatch, stand by. You're a fucking ignorant. See, the problem is some of you that are in deputy chiefs of operations positions, you haven't even commanded 10 fires in your whole career. I know who you are. I know that you have no experience commanding fires, and you're showing it. And see, that's where Bill Carey's thing bothers me, is because I'll do a post that's just a little bit of information. It's a nugget. Fireground commander should have 2 radios. That could be at the back of a chief's buggy. Could be in the front seat of a chief's buggy. 2 mobiles, one on tactical, one on dispatch. Maybe it's you only have one mobile, it's on tactical, and the other one's on, dispatch, whatever. I don't care if you're in the front seat of the buggy, the back of the buggy, the front yard. A person running the fire. Yes, I get it. It's going to escalate. All you chiefs in your ICS class, you staff chiefs sitting in fucking meetings, and you never did any time on the fucking street running, commanding fires. I don't know what they tell you at these chiefs conferences other than you play golf. But I did 21 years of nothing but commanding fires in a busy, poverty-stricken metropolitan county. Busy. Fires. That's what I did. I didn't take your leadership classes. I didn't worry about getting EFO, GFO, TFO. All that shit's good, man. All 3 of my kids, University of Florida, and 2 of them are going to be firefighters. I want to be... I'm not saying you don't need formal education, but a college degree, a PhD, a neuroscience fucking surgeon doesn't know shit at that and commanded a fire. What reality is going to happen on a Fireground? Batteries are going to fail. Radios are going to fail. Firefighters are going to mess up because they're in a zero visibility, high heat environment. Buildings are falling down. It's getting worse by the day. And when you get on my post and you say stupid fucking shit, you make our post negative. You make it more dangerous because now you got people second guessing it. Why would a chief not want 2 portables if they're standing in the front row? Why would they not want 2 different radios at the back of a vehicle? Absolutely. Every chief should have a chief's aide. Every fire should have multiple chiefs. I fucking argued it starting 21 years ago when I became a battalion. I was the only battalion chief commanding the whole county, 664 square miles, 350,000 people, working fire a day, every day, and nobody was coming to back me up. I did it by myself. It sucked. It's stressful. So I learned to adapt, and then as I got more chiefs, yeah, it's awesome. Thank God I never had somebody buried at a fire command, because it could have happened. It could have happened. Absolutely. Could have happened a bunch of times. And there is times where my 2 radios made a difference on communicating tactically who's doing what. Shut down that line. Start this line. On one of the posts, somebody asked about a water supply officer. I've used a water supply officer a bunch of times. I don't know, a dozen times maybe. And I put them on a different channel. So I'm commanding the fire. It's a huge, big fire. Multiple ladders operating. Master strings, rams, deck guns. They're on this other channel because they're zeroing out a fully tapped plug, maxing out 150 through old school 5-inch. And I don't want them to blow a 5-inch line. I don't want them to blow the relief valves. You're damn right I want a second channel. If you can't command a first alarm assignment up to 6 companies and manage 2 radios, you shouldn't fucking be a chief. Your brain's not smart enough. You can't think fast enough. You don't fire off enough cylinders to be able to think good enough. That's a problem. Chief Smith retired from Philly. Passed away, rest in peace. Wrote an article for over 20 years in Firehouse Magazine. He used to say to the National Fire Academy in the command class, If a battalion chief, a chief officer, an operational chief can't command a first alarm assignment in his head, he shouldn't be a chief. Now, when it goes to a second alarm, you better already have that stuff written down. And for you folks that don't know me, this is the kind of shit I built 20 years ago. Now, half these people don't even work at a Scambia anymore. These boards were made in 2004. My dad was going to the National Fire Academy in the 80s into the 90s. I have his command worksheets. My dad had a 1980-something Chevy S10 with a camper top on the back. Probably the first guy in the whole 850 built an entire command center in the back of his pickup truck. Had one in the back of his 1971 Volvo station wagon from doing time in Korea and Vietnam. My dad was probably the first guy, volunteer chief, but a professional operation. We actually had a training calendar at Midway when I was a kid. On what we were going to do every month. And in the back of his vehicle, he had a 100-watt radio, mobile radio, portable radios. He built it out of plywood with a pull-out thing with a command board. I've commanded a shitload of fires, writing with pens and markers and doing all that other stuff. I've been into this accountability stuff. My dad brought the Clemens system to Midway, I don't know, over 30 years ago, 1990, 92, I don't know, something like that, with a little yellow tags. You cut it open, all the shit's in there. When I was a training captain in Midway, that's the first thing I did in the summer of 2000 was implemented the Clemens system. I took the city of Marietta to South Okaloosa. But accountability tag is not going to pull somebody out of a fucking fire. The reality is you're not even going to be able to manage those tags. What you need to be doing is managing the radio. Time in, time out. Somebody's going through the front door, you see on the back of their pack, squad 1, engine 1's making entry. You got an idea, command to a Scambia, squad 1, engine 1, crew of 3 making entry. And hopefully they put it on there so you can have a time on air management purposes of when they're coming out. But no tag, none of this is going to pull somebody out of a building. None of this is going to manage resources you don't have because you've always got away with your normal assignment. You didn't call for extra people because that was against the culture of your organization. Oh, God forbid, we got to worry about them rigs being available for the what-if call, the medical call that might happen. How about the fire that's happening right now? I've been on the damn Facebook's building construction site a lot lately. Every day they're posting line of duty deaths, and there's never an expiration on a line of duty death. Somebody can turn that into a fucking meme if you want. There's not an expiration date on a line of duty death. You read them back to 100 years. Fire trucks backing over people, buildings falling down, whatever it is. The one on Boston we just had. We ought to be studying and reading all of those. And I'm going to tell you what it comes down to is it's tactical assignments. It's tactical radio communication of a coordinated fire attack. When we're getting water on a fire, when we're venting, when we're opening the building, how many resources we have. Are we evaluating now that we have the luxury of a thermal imager of building integrity and air management? So here's the deal. You got to stop living in theory land and start waking up to reality. It's like you people that think we're going to change channel on a Mayday. That's ludicrous to change channels during a Mayday incident. We need to focus on firefighters being the best they can be. Forcing doors. I've never posted it, but I got over a half a dozen videos of major urban city fire departments where it was videoed by a camera, a cell phone, where they couldn't get in a key and knob lock of a steel door and a steel frame. They should be able to get in 30 seconds, 60 seconds. That's what we need. Don't make fun of them. Somebody needs to be offering them a door prop. Loan it. I just had a fire department pick up my door prop from my front yard today to borrow to use. I got 5 door props. You're a fire department 850, come get it for free. You tear it up, I'll pay to get it fixed. We got to be getting better at getting into buildings faster and getting out. We're talking about historically 30, 40, 50 years ago, it was almost 30 minutes, 29 minutes to flash over single room from ignition. We're talking about 3 minutes and 40 seconds to flash over now. We got to stretch faster. We got to force entry faster. We got to be able to advance, push faster. And we need somebody willing to open the nozzle. And these fucking masks that are getting burned over and helmets that before a fire look good and they're burned up, that's fucking dangerous. It's not cool. You're going to have a dead fireman. That means you were within seconds of being dead. The weakest part of your ensemble is your mask. When it gets distorted, that's failure. Failure's already started. You failed to put, you were in an environment that you almost couldn't survive with the gear on. What makes you think somebody else is going to survive in there? And yeah, I think it's worth the risk. I think it's worth the risk to be smart, intelligent about when to go, when not to. It's worth the risk to say, you know what, I'm not going. People can pick on me and second guess me. We have got to wake up to reality, folks. We need to know when to go, when not to go. We need to know when to flow, when not to flow. When to take a window, when not to take a window. When to pop the door and close it on the halogen until we're ready to make entry. When to open it and let it blow and see what's going on. We're talking about a fire environment that is explosive within less than 4 minutes. So if you get dispatched to a working fire, it takes you more than 4 minutes to get there. It's either not burning or it's seriously burning, and there's no happy medium. And what you don't understand is when you get there, what you see is not what you're going to fight, because the next room that hasn't lit off, it ain't 72 degrees, my friends. It's 110, 120, 130, 100. By the time you get off the rig and make it to that window, it's 5 seconds from flashing over. Vent point ignition. We are we're on the verge to getting below 2,000 civilian fire fatalities based on operational excellence. But we can't let it change the numbers that Bill Carey gives us, the data versus drama. We can't have a year from now that Bill comes back and says, well, shit, we got 15 this year, because people are jumping off the boat because they think it's safe. You know what I mean? I said it before. It's like being out in the open water and it's storming and you're not wearing a life jacket. Yeah, you can swim, but what if you can't see the shore and you don't know where to swim to? You know, like, we got to be thinking about the Rome book, rules of air management. We got to be thinking about thermal saturation. What's the temperature of your gear before you make entry? What's the temperature 5 minutes after you make entry? What is it when you've been operating inside that building for 10 minutes and then something bad happens? You've got no protection because your bunker gear's already preheated to 150, 170, 180, 200 degrees as a whole. I got to take a breath. My damn cigar went out. So at the end of the day, what we need is some of you operational, into the job, experienced, with a good formal education, to suck it up and be seeking chiefs positions in the office. We need operationally competent deputy chiefs, staff chiefs, training chiefs, even fire chiefs. But, you know, a fire chief, if he empowers or she empowers their deputy chief, they can be a politician. I think that's important. But we need operational deputy chiefs, assistant chiefs at headquarters that understands what we need on a fireground. And there's an accountability of how we operationally operate. How, when, and where we do West Coast Command versus East Coast Command. When do you stay in the front seat of your buggy, which I've done that a bunch. When do you stay at the back of your buggy? When do you need to be in the front yard because you got there first and it's a private dwelling, nobody's there, and you're 100% of the impact? Go back and read my articles. And understanding that as a chief officer, this radio is the most powerful thing. You better have a backup, which is another radio. The thermal imager used on the exterior of a building could possibly save more lives than a thermal imager ever will on the interior of a building. We need the view of a thermal imager on the outside and compare it with a thermal imager on the inside. We need chiefs that understand how long it takes to get a search of a certain size structure, how long it takes them to advance a line into a building based on the neighborhood, the community, the hoarding conditions, maybe the challenge of the floor plan or the add-ons, how long it's going to take them to get to the roof. One of my posts, a comment, guy was like, well, why didn't they use a right ladder? Well, because the fucking first due engine got there and they don't have a ladder to get to the third floor of a Queen Anne Victorian. Like, stop Monday morning quarterbacking shit you didn't go to when the brothers and sisters are getting shit done. They're doing the best they can, and you picking on them ain't gonna help nothing because it ain't their fault. Like, we can't have a damn every fire is not gonna have an engine and truck pulling up with 10 people. It's just not reality. But I think the fire service is doing a phenomenal job. I really do. I think we got the best fire service we've ever had. I think we got the smartest firefighters we've ever had. But I think that we need leaders, because I'm seeing more leaders commenting on stupid shit than I see firefighters. And that's the problem, is you're disconnected from reality of what's going on, of them working and running 9 med calls, and now they got a fire at 4 o'clock in the morning, and they're exhausted, and they're riding on 3-person companies. And then you want to tell them to do this, that, and the other, and you hadn't commanded 10 fires in your whole career. You don't know. Like, how can you even tell them? You don't know what kind of saw they need or what blade they need or don't need because you ain't never even cut a roof. I mean, that's the problem. So I go back to what Danny asked me the other day, and I wish I could do it over again. Experience is the top priority for operational people. You can't replace experience. Knowing how long it's going to take to get shit done, to force a certain type of door in a certain building, search a certain type of building, cut a certain type of roof, so on and so forth. Like, you got to get it done. And all of you, I'm going to tell you this too now. So all of you talk about pay. You want more pay. You want more time off. You want this. We ought to be paid like athletes. Guess what? Athletes are training 7 days a week. How often are you training? 7 days a week. And everybody's going to be the quarterback. Florida just, kicked ass last Saturday. Well, it's a high school team. Well, okay, it's a high school team. So next week we'll play another team and another team and another team. Like, everybody's always got a negative about something that could be positive. Just let it be positive. It's okay, man. Like, in the end of the day, we all got to do our own size up in the rearview mirror, size up in our mirror in our bathroom of what works, what doesn't work, how we're going. But you posting negative shit instead of just giving some reality of what's going on. Absolutely, there's fires where we need 5 chiefs and we need logistics and planning and all. I get all that shit. I took all them classes too, my friend. But sometimes we're talking about a damn first due private dwelling. And in a first due private dwelling, I got a total of 12 people come to the fire. That's it. I don't need a command board laid out with 12 magnets. If I can't keep up with 12 people, hopefully 12 people is a maximum of 5 or less companies. So I can't remember 5 names in my head and I need a command board and move a bunch of magnets around. I got this for when it escalates. In the morning time, I looked at my telestaff roster, looked at who are, where, first and foremost, mainly who are my officers, who's working out of capacity, do I have a new driver, and if I'm going to a fire, like, I want to know, like, hey, is the driver experienced, pump operation-wise, is the first due company officer experienced, is the firefighter, is it his first fire on the nozzle, and then I kind of go from there as I'm maximizing my response time, whether it's 3 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever the case may be, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not mad. I'm passionate. That's what I am. I'm passionate that I want us to get better, and we're on the right track. But some of you are holding it back because you sit in your Fruit of the Looms in your basement, and you want to just comment to like sound cool or sound, but you give us no information, no doubt. How about you post an article? How about you write an article? We'll post it for you. Send it to me. We'll post your article. Send it to me. But don't just get on there and say one-liner, because then I look at it and I see you weigh 450 pounds, you got a beard, you've been to 10 fires in your whole career. I just want to delete you and block you. That's all I want to do. I need some positive feedback. And we do get positive feedback. And I look at it and I read it. But if you notice, more so than ever, I don't acknowledge people. Hell, half the time I don't even like it. Because I don't have time to do that. I'm not here to debate with you. You want to debate? Come to a conference. Come to a class. We'll debate. Hell, shit, come sit on my dock and we'll debate. I'm not going to debate with you on social media about what you think we should or shouldn't have. All I'm doing is free of charge telling you anything on countyfiretactics.com, anything on firefighter rescue. You can click on it, save it, use it, change it. Any of my PowerPoints, you can have them, save them, record me when I'm teaching. It's yours. You don't need permission. It's not mine. I'm just giving you information I learned from people around the country. And I've been going to a shitload of fires for over 30 years. That's what I do. I went to fires. I mean, no, I didn't ever hire nobody to fucking start a fire, but I got accused of that because I was a black cloud. And it mentally caught up in my brain, and it sucks. That's why I went to the COE, is my brain's fucked up. But I tell you what, it ain't fucked up when it comes to understanding operations, because I wasn't spending time writing papers to get my EFO, GFO, TFO, whatever. I spent my time studying Fireground strategy and tactics for the last 30-some years. I stayed in the same position as a line battalion chief for 21, so you're damn right. I'm in my lane. My lane is battalion chief commanding Fireground operations, special operations. Most of the time at a fire, a special ops incident, I got the answers. You might not like me, but I got the answers. As long as we got the staff and the tools, we're going to get it done, and we're going to get it done as a team, as a whole. But you going to your 10 or 20 fires and getting on there and saying some stupid shit is doing nothing but making your department look stupid and ignorant. So take the time, do a little research, write an article, do a post, and we'll post it for you. We'll put it up. We want to educate the fire service. We'll post your stuff. Anybody got any questions? I don't normally do this, but I got a free day today. So, like right now, if you got a question, ask it. I got a new system now. I got my phone, so I can go here, and then I can look at my phone while you're live and see if you ask. Holy shit, 36 comments already. Let me see what we got here on comments. We got you fired up. Yep, Chief Hovelman, go Knowles. I'm the only person that's happy that FSU beat Alabama. Everybody in Gainesville wanted Alabama to win, but I was very happy FSU won. Trying to see here, man. No good questions on here. So we'll finish up here in a second. So some of them posts, man, that we did this last week on water supply. Let me look a couple of these up real quick. These posts. Interior attack, man, you either got to go or no go. You can't hesitate. And if you're going to go, you probably should be flowing water when you break the threshold if there's thick black smoke below the doorknob. If you have thick black smoke below the doorknob of entry, that means you have a supercharged environment of unburned fire gases. Flow some water off the ceiling. We're not going to talk about Taylor Swift. 2 portable radios. Have a strategic mindset for large fires. Absolutely need a water supply officer. Most likely your first water supply should be a reverse lay. Second one can be a forward lay. Try to get it on a different main off of a different system. Evaluate cutting through a fence behind the building or house to another street on a different water main. Early and often call the water department to boost the system. And urban departments need to be considering tankers augmenting your hydrant system, where a tanker, 2,500, 3,000, whatever gallon tanker you got, it goes to the hydrant where the engine's pumping the hydrant, and all they do is give a 2.5 inch or 3 inch feeder line into that engine. They can zero the plug where they don't cavitate, and then all they're doing is augmenting to get additional 250 gallons a minute while maximizing initial water supply. Absolutely, there's fires when you pull up, you shouldn't even start flowing water. You get 2 rams on the ground, maybe a deck gun set up. They bring in a hydrant, and you unload and you flow the 2 rams, the deck gun, at the exact same time. You're eating off your hydrant and your tank water simultaneously for a massive 2, 3, 4, 5 minute blitz attack of large GPM. Remember, you can go back and all the articles are under chiefike.com. Well, I think that's good. Strong command maximizes strong tactics. I've always believed that. I think that we need to get more chiefs that understand how long it takes firefighters based on their staffing to get a line into operation. You ask a 3-person company, and there's a pump operator staying at the pump to get an 1 3/4 of the 4th floor of a 4-story apartment building, you better have an idea. Are they going to be able to do a rope stretch, a well stretch? Do they know how to do a rope stretch or a well stretch? Or are you going to assign a second company to back them up? So all those things are, critical when we're talking about experience, reality of versus theory on, is it a 3-person company, a 4-person, a 5-person? What are you doing? Is a 3-person company taking a line through a shotgun wood frame house? Are they taking it in a 2-story private dwelling with a return staircase? Totally different. You're going to need somebody else staffing that line. Are you sending somebody to the back of a commercial occupancy with an outward swinging steel door with a locked in place drop bar and drop pins, top pins? Are you confident that they know? Everybody says, well, they're supposed to know what to do. What happens when you don't check? They go back there with a set of irons and they didn't bring a K-12, or they brought it with a wood cutting blade, not a metal cutting blade. And then do you know that K-12 can only run for 10 minutes, even when it's full and it's going to be out of gas? I mean, all this shit matters when it comes down to fundamentals on a fireground. When you're breaching a wall, do you want to use an 8-pound axe, a 6-pound axe, or do you want to use a 10-pound sledge? Bust a cinder block. A sledgehammer is going to bust cinder block better than an axe based on the punch and how cinder blocks are made. All this attention to detail. What kind of blade are you using on your reciprocating saw? When do you use a 30-tooth versus a 24-tooth versus a 12-tooth blade? When's it good to use a composite blade versus a $250 metal cutting that cuts all the time? They all cut different. There's a positive and negative, for all of what happens when it's an oxygen-deprived environment. Do you have electric cutting, DeWalt, Milwaukee type saws? Are you ready for hurricane glass and being able to cut it? So, there's so much to know about this job. It's crazy. And a lot of those nuggets I'm going to cover in a special operations class The week after Water on a Fire, it's 3 days long, whatever it is, November 15th through the 17th. I'm going to talk about little specialty things about blades, saws, how long they run, how long the gas lasts, battery rotation. If you run the battery all the way dead, it takes longer because that's a cool down before it recharges. This is all attention to detail that matters, and it doesn't matter until you have that bad day. I've been to calls where we had 5 reciprocating saws between cordless and corded, and one guy was, all his job was to keep the reciprocating saws going as we passed them back so we didn't burn up a reciprocating saw from non-stop cutting. I've had calls where we had to breach walls into void spaces in a commercial building, had 3 K-12s running where they could take one, run it. Next one stepped in, that one cooled down, got a fuel tank. The next one ran. By the time that one came back in operation, the other 2 K-12s were running for 20 minutes. I gave 20 minutes for that one K-12 to cool down. Those are things that chiefs got to be thinking about, but the firefighters are going to do the work, right? We're using our brain to think. They're physically knowing what to do and how to get it done. So if you got some questions, you want me to cover something on the next doc video, the weather's getting beautiful here, low humidity, highs in the mid-80s, so I can do daytime doc videos. So leave a comment, leave a thing. Let us know if you're liking the daily post. Make sure you sign up on countyfiretactics.com for the box alarm. That's how you get the emails for all this stuff. And Water on the Fire is going to be the biggest and best it's ever been. We're going to probably break 500 people with 3 days of hands-on, a bunch of UL water mapping stuff, going over some in-depth void space fire attack, standpipe operations, you name it. So God bless you. Have a great day. I hope you like the change up of Firefighter Ike. Remember, this is the difference between life or death sometimes. Being able to transat mayday, 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 you know, engine 1 nozzle trapped on the 2nd floor out of air and hoping somebody hears it. Whether you're on the right channel, the wrong channel, let's have redundancy. Let's have a backup. Let's hope somebody's listening when you call for help. Let's hope that the person in command has some real-world experience of Fireground command, not theory and a bunch of spreadsheets on ICMS and ECMS and, you know, PIPs and all that other stuff, because firefighters put out fires, and chiefs should be there to maximize their capabilities and be able to be the thinking tap for them. So God bless you and have a great day.